Welcome to the overview video for Module 1 of the Performance Project. I know that when I'm learning something new or even learning something I already know when I'm writing, I always like to know what the end goal is, what the result is that I want to have. And that makes it easier to stay motivated and to stay engaged with the learning process. So I'm going to give you guys a quick overview of what is included in Module 1 and what you're going to end up with at the end of the month. All right, so this first month is going to be spent on strategic planning. And the reason that this is so important is because, I like to use an analogy of a sailboat. If you set sail without a rudder and without charts, you're going to go places. You're going to sail, you might have a great time, but you're probably not going to end up where you want to end up, and you're probably not going to have as good a time as you would if you leave and set sail with a rudder and with a plan. So it's not that you have to have a strategic plan in order to have a great life, but having a strategic plan greatly increases the chances, A, of you getting to where you want to go, and B, of you really enjoying the ride. So this is a practice that it's not something you're going to do once and you're going to have the perfect strategic plan and everything's going to go according to plan. What this is it's a live document. It's something that you are going to create. It's going to evolve. It's going to change over the months, over the years, but it's something that's always going to allow you to be continuing to move forward intentionally in your life. So there's 4 components to a strategic plan. One of them, the first one is vision. The second one is goals. The third one is strategy. And the fourth one is action. So I'm going to take you step by step this month through each one of those. So you're going to have an opportunity to really spend some time constructing each section of your strategic plan. And really the difference between a strategic plan and the kind of just normal planning that we tend to do is a strategic plan starts where you want to be. It starts with what I call a 500-foot view of where you want to be, and then you work your way back. A plan tends to start with where you are and try to move forward. And the problem with that is that when we do that, when we aren't really clear on the destination, it's a lot easier for us to get sidetracked and stonewalled by problems and issues and all the reasons why you can't do this or you can't do that or you can't make that happen. And so it's really important when you are going through this process of especially the visioning, but the whole strategic planning process, that you let go of thinking about how you're going to make it happen, whether you're going to make it happen, and you get really, really connected with what it is you want, what it is you most desire to have happen. Okay? So I'm going to tell you a little bit. So the visioning process is basically, vision means that is the ability to imagine and articulate that which has not yet come to fruition. Okay? And it's not something that you're just either good at or you're not. It's not an inherent talent or skill. It's something you learn. So when I first did this, well, maybe not the first time, but when I was first kind of learning this process about 5 years ago, I want to share with you my experience because I think that I probably experienced the whole spectrum of what you're going to experience and what I now see happening with the clients that I work with. So I was working with a coach and she was asking me, okay, 5 years from now, how do you want to feel? What do you want to have? What do you want to create? All that. And my first instinct was, well, nothing, because everything's okay the way it is. I mean, I couldn't really want for more. I've got a house, I'm healthy, I've got a family I love, I've got good people in my life. What more could I want? What more could I possibly deserve? And that is something that comes up for a lot of us when we're visioning is this kind of idea that, I don't have a vision because I already have everything I want. And what I want to encourage you to do is, if that's you, and if you have that experience even a little bit, to really let go of that. Let go of having to have the things the way you want. And I call that the satisfaction block, when you feel satisfied and so you're not able to really think about what it is that's possible for you. So let go of your satisfaction and really know that as a human being, It is natural to want to grow and evolve and change. So if you were going to vision, what would it be? What would you want to have or do or be in the next 5 years? Okay, so that's one, let go of your satisfaction. The second experience I had is, I especially remember this one. You know, I knew I was dissatisfied with a lot of things in my life because that's what had kind of propelled me into this work. And, you know, I was in debt. I was working my ass off, not spending enough time with my family or in my personal life. I was having horse issues. I had a sense of a lack of fulfillment because I wanted to have a bigger impact. I wanted to do more in the world. And that dissatisfaction was comfortable, I realized, because when I started to think about, oh, what would it be like if those things weren't the case? If I didn't have those things to kind of complain about and stay, you know, safe with, that felt pretty scary. To actually look like what would it be like to let go of those things, you know? And so that's the second thing I'd like you to let go of if that happens for you when you start visioning, is that sense of dissatisfaction, and really be courageous about imagining what it would be like. One reason that people do feel fear when it comes to visioning is because we often don't want to set ourselves up for failure. We don't want to imagine something that maybe we think we can't achieve. And there's also a sense of feeling discouraged, like, oh gosh, you know, everything is so messed up right now. I can't even imagine what it would be like to have all these great things, and it's just going to make me feel worse if I try to vision. So that's the third thing I'd like you to let go of, is that sense of not wanting to be discouraged or not wanting to set yourself up for failure. Those are all natural feelings. Okay, so when you go to the visioning process, go cleanly. Okay, let go of those emotions that come up and really sit down and answer those questions, okay, about vision that are going to be in that session. All right, so once you have your vision, you've got your clearing in the woods, you've got your charts, you know where you're going to go. And the next part of that, so that's the 500-foot view, and the next part is for your goals. I really ask you to zoom in now and look at like the next 6 months or the next year or the next 3 months or whatever feels comfortable for you. And you might have goals that have different time frames, that's fine. And I'm gonna ask you to choose 3 to 4 areas in your life that are really important to you and set important goals in those areas. And when I say important, what I mean by that is goals that are gonna make a difference. Goals that are gonna have a ripple effect, either in your own life or in the lives of others. So 3 to 4 goals, 3 different areas of your life, and those goals need to be directly headed towards your vision, in alignment with your vision. They need to matter to you. And there's this nice balance that I help you find with goals between what we call a stretch goal, which will make you feel a little nervous, a little excited, but also something that's realistic. You know, it's not realistic to have a goal of winning the lottery because you have no control over that. So we're going to be really looking at things that you have control over, that you can impact, and also that will be challenging and stretch you. Okay? So you're going to have your vision, you're going to have goals, and then the next part of your strategic plan is the strategy. And strategy is what I have come to love. It is creative, it can change, it's fun, it's the place where people most often get stuck. So it's the most fun for me to kind of help people get unstuck when it comes to strategy. I want to make a distinction between strategy and goals, because most people, when people make New Year's resolutions, 95% or more of New Year's resolutions fail. Actually, it's higher than that, I think. And the reason for that is most people's resolutions are strategies. They are not goals. You know, so for example, if I have a goal of working out 3 days a week, or that's my resolution, the first time I don't work out 3 days a week, and there's going to be a time pretty quickly, I will have failed. And so then I get to start telling myself all the stories about how I failed and it's not going to work. I'm not going to be able to keep my resolution or achieve my goal. So that's why working out 3 days a week is a strategy. It's not a goal. The goal might be, you know, to climb Mount Everest, or to run a marathon, or to feel fit and healthy enough to ride 5 horses a day, or whatever it is. That's the goal. That's the thing that matters to you in your life. Working out 3 days a week is just the strategy. So if it doesn't work, then you can figure out something else. Maybe you need to work out different days of the week. Maybe you need an exercise buddy, whatever it is. But that leaves a lot of room then for being able to be very committed to your goal and have it stay fixed, but to change your strategy and be really open-minded about strategy. So you're gonna come up with your strategies, and then the great thing about this program being a year long is that, you know, you might find out those strategies don't work, and you're gonna have help brainstorming, and you're gonna have my support in figuring out, okay, if that strategy is not gonna work, what are you gonna do instead? Because that goal still matters. Instead of just getting discouraged, telling yourself stories about who you are and that you're not ever gonna achieve that goal, okay? So that's the new experience I want you to have in this program, is that creativity, that resilience, that flexibility with strategy. All right, okay, then the fourth one is action. It's the simplest one, and it's often the hardest one. So action, but it's actually so much easier after you've come up with your strategic plan, because actions are things that can be crossed off a list. Strategies are usually ongoing. They're usually habits or routines or things you're gonna do regularly, okay? And actions are things that you check off a list. So, you know, riding my horse 5 days a week is a strategy. Calling to set up a clinic or registering for a clinic is an action step. That's something I can check off a list. So your action plan is going to be evolving and changing. So I'm going to encourage you to have your action plan set up somewhere where you can constantly be, you know, checking things off the list and adding new things as you go along. And the fun thing about the action steps is, you know, if you just have your goal, if you just have a goal and your goal is not connected to a vision, and you just have your action steps and they are not really connected to the vision or to the goals, you're not going to be very motivated. If there are actions that are kind of hard or challenging, if there are difficult conversations you need to have, or, you know, hard changes, if you're going to, you know, if you're, one of the things I work with trainers a lot on is raising their rates or changing the way that they run their schedules or whatever, those often involve challenging conversations with clients. And I literally have trainers who have been putting that off for years and years, because they haven't yet connected that to their vision, their goals, and what is possible for them if they were to make those tiny little changes, take those tiny little actions. So that's one of the things I look forward to in this program too, is helping you guys really get into action around the things that are going to have a huge ripple effect on you moving forward towards your goals and with your strategic plan. So by the end of the month, you're gonna have a vision, you're gonna have clear goals in the important areas of your life, you're gonna have strategies, and you're gonna already have begun to take action. I guarantee you are gonna take massive action these first couple of months like you have probably never taken before because of this experience. The other thing I wanna just mention, and I talk about this in the audios some, is having what's called a vision ritual. Part of the power of this process that's different from any other goal setting process that I've heard of is when you create a vision, you actually get to experience yourself as that person. When you articulate it clearly, you put yourself in your own shoes 5 years from now, you become, for a moment, who that person is. And then that allows you to be able to access that person when you need to. So what you believe about yourself changes. And this is what's going to happen in this program. The example I like to use is, if, let's say you're a smoker and you believe yourself to be a smoker trying to quit smoking, and that is how you think of yourself. You're a smoker trying to quit smoking. You will remain a smoker trying to quit smoking, I promise. If you are someone who, you know, is a rider who has a lot of fear, trying to overcome fear, you will continue to be a rider trying to overcome fear. If you are a rider who continually is not performing to your best, not meeting your goals, and you start to think of yourself that way, and you start to think of having this problem, you will continue to have that problem until you step outside of your current experience. You step into your vision, and you begin to believe that you are that person in your vision. And beliefs are changeable. Beliefs are in your head. You can choose to believe whatever you want. Whether I believe in God or not has no bearing on whether there's a God or not. So this is the other thing that is gonna, as we go through the next few months of the performance project, beliefs are really powerful. And we're gonna talk about all kinds of ways that you can begin to really change your beliefs around who you are and what's possible. And those are the things that really will drive your progress forward. Okay, so a vision ritual is something you do every day that helps you stay present to that vision and to who you are as the person that has achieved that vision. And my example of my vision ritual that I started years and years ago, and I still do it, is that every single day I do one thing that impacts my future, that has an impact on something important to me in the future. And what that means is that I don't go through a day allowing myself to just get stuck returning emails and doing barn work and, seeing clients and making dinner and going to bed and getting up in the morning and doing the same thing over. Every day I get to say to myself, okay, what's the one thing that I'm gonna do that's gonna make a difference later on? And sometimes those are really big, hard things. And sometimes those are just small things, okay? Making this video is one thing. This is gonna make a difference in my life in the future. This is gonna make a difference in how you guys experience this module and this first month of the performance project. So that's my vision ritual. Other people have things like doing sun salutes or, for some people meditation or exercise or writing in a journal or, the sky's the limit. But I'd like you to really think about what is the one ritual that is going to continually keep you present to your vision and help you begin to become that person in your vision, okay? All right, thanks for being here with me. I can't wait for this month to unfold. And thanks again for taking this ride with me.